back again, uploaded on your computer screens. Hope you guys are doing well. So, Crazy Rich Asians has released their trailer months ahead of schedule. And I got the chance to watch it, and a lot of people have watched it. Fung Bros has done a video on it. And is this movie the equivalent to what Black Panther was to black people? If you watch the trailer, if you have not watched the trailer, make sure you watch it now. You will see that almost every A-list Asian American actor that you can think of, is not that many, but they are in this movie, make appearance in this movie. And I watched the trailer, you guys, and I felt like that this is gonna be groundbreaking because we don't get a lot of all Asian casted movies in America. But the movie itself is nothing new. I watched it and I was like, okay, I'm really happy that we are getting this, especially I'm not Asian, but I'm a minority. I don't even know why I should say that, oh, I'm not Asian, because, you know, I'm a human being and I should be able to still support this movie just like an Asian person or East Asian person, Indian, black person, Hispanic, white, anybody. However, the movie itself looks really bland. I wanted it to be really impactful, kind of like Memoirs of a Geisha was. We have that movie that did very well in the box office long time ago that had an all Asian cast, and I wanted this new movie to also break through and give more opportunities to Asian Americans to be in more movies. I was disappointed. Mind you guys, I wasn't really interested in the book's synopsis when I read it either. It was just because it wasn't something that interested me. It had nothing to do with it being Asian or anything like that. Every single time I would run across the book in the bookstore, which has been many times. I've run across this book in the bookstore so much that I actually, if I close my eyes, I can picture the cover of this book. This is how many times I've run across this book in the bookstore. And I just, every time I would try to like make myself buy it, because I'm really interested in like Asian culture centered stories, and I just was not interested in it. But I do want to support it just because it aids to this whole message of diversity that is needed in America, definitely in entertainment, which is run by Hollywood, and to go deeper with that white supremacy. But you know, the movie itself, it makes me sad because I feel like that Warner Brothers and a lot of people that probably helped to finance this movie wasted their money, because overall the movie itself isn't really gonna stand out no more than if they promote that it has an all Asian cast. And even then, what really helped Black Panther was that it was a Marvel movie. It was a Marvel movie, and also it actually had a strong backing story that people wanted to see, no matter if it was them promoting that it was an all-black cast mostly and an all-black director. It had that strong foundation of an actual storyline from a comic book. Also, it's based on the actual roots of black people or African American culture in Africa, if Africa had not been colonized by the Europeans. So it had a really big foundation there. But I feel like this movie is based on a stereotype. And not to say that Asians aren't rich, because it's sad as well, because we actually have to like go here and be like really PG and say that, well, you should know that all Asians are not rich. Well, obviously you should know that not all Asians are rich, but people should already use their common sense and know that there are some that are not. But this movie is basically fueling a stereotype that, you know, Asian people are rich and that they think that they're better than other people, and just kind of the misconceptions that people have about Asian people that are really negative. I've been looking at some of the comments to the trailer, and some of the black people that feel kind of hurt are in the comments. And that's mostly because they feel like that there were Chinese people that had a lot to say negatively about Black Panther. And one of the misconceptions, if I'm going to keep this all the way up 100 and keep this video all the way 100, is that it was about someone had wrote on a Chinese review site that the characters and the actors were too dark in some of the dimly lit scenes. But I do think that this is a whole misunderstanding, because Chinese theaters and their screens and their projectors are really bad. So what the people were actually talking about was that since the projectors were really bad, it was hard to see the characters and the action in some of the dimly lit scenes. But people know automatically that if you watch in any other place, any other country in America, that the dimly lit scenes and the action, the characters were fine, the lighting was good. But that's not actually Black Panther's fault or the director's fault. It's more so China's fault, because they have a good economy, but they seem like they're too cheap to replace their projectors. But it came across like it was a racial comment, which also leads me to more of the hurt that some Black people feel, and why they might feel a certain way or hatred toward this movie is because it's like that history of these so-called crazy rich Asians looking down on Black people because of white supremacy. And there are a lot of Asians, no matter East Asian, Indian, whoever, who like to cloak themselves in white supremacy. And when I talk about white supremacy, I'm not saying all white people are bad, because there are also white people that are against white supremacy and that do not support it. So let's also make that very clear right here and now. But there are a lot of Asian people that will get with white people or get to a certain status, and they will look down on Black people and say that Black people are all uneducated, ghetto. I've seen it so many times where I have had friends that were Asian that mostly grew up around white people and being in that space, and when they met me, they thought like I was supposed to act a certain way or be a certain way, and they thought that all Black people were a certain way, which also is fueled from a stereotype from white supremacy, where people think that if one Black person does it, then we all do it. It's not that we get thrown a bone. And with some Asian people too, you know, like they think that Asian people are all good at math just because they see one Asian person that's good at math. Or that all Asian people are rich just because you see one or two Asian people that are rich. However, this all leads into this whole problem that we have, and that this movie kind of helps to bring more power to. I'm not going to even sit here and lie to you guys, but the good thing about this movie is that we do get a movie that has an all-Asian cast. And not only does it have an all-Asian cast, it also has Asians in a romantic format. You know, we get to see an Asian guy that's actually not weak and geeky and feminized and is strong and actually gets the girl, and you get to see Asian people feel good about themselves and see themselves in a positive light. Even though I caught that they had one character talking like she was Black. And once again, I mean, Fresh Off the Boat does this too. They don't mind using that, "oh damn girl" and "oh hell nah."
But you can't swerve. You gonna roll up and be like, "Bok bok, bitch,"
in their stuff. But then when a Black person does it, we're ghetto. And even Asian people said, "oh, you're ghetto," or "you're loud." Being loud and ghetto is not even that bad. Everyone should be allowed to express themselves differently. I don't understand why we have this negative connotation that being loud and being ghetto is bad, but other races who aren't Black do it, it's okay. I'm not for that. It's a huge, big double standard that all of this stuff ties in together that we all need to really think about. And I mean, really think about it. And maybe sit down and take a step back and be like, well, you know, maybe I was being hypocritical. You know, maybe I should think a little bit outside of the box. And, you know, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. So why would I do that to somebody else? So you guys, I hope you got something out of this video. Follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. I do have a Twitter. And also, please be real, live in the real, stay real. And I will be back.
Just like this.